the floor where my quirks so he can tell what girl I really am. 'Cause I need someone who knows my body, my temper, someone shooting arrows at me makes me feel like someone knows me to say I need someone who gets it, who gets it, who gets me. Ooh. Ha. Yeah. Ha. Someone who gets it like you do. Deep eyes at me. This time it's happening tonight. On the floor, DJ plays my favorite track, casting aspects on us. 'Cause I need someone who knows my body, my temper, someone shooting arrows at me makes me feel like someone knows me to say I need someone who gets it, who gets it, who gets me. Someone who gets it like you. Someone who feels it like I do. You. Someone knows me to say I need someone who gets it, who gets it, who gets me. Yeah. Let's go. Hey there, your hands full empty flesh and jumping, chasing on that flame so bright it can make you into something. Yeah, hey there, you see screens on screens that drag you orbit. The sky's falling down. We're our next tilting away from it. Now it feels like I have lost my edge, and I'm still trying to understand the way they think. Yeah, 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 yeah. The way they think. Yeah. Trying to be focused, adrift that pushes against the winds, but it gets harder to sleep when minds turn the best of us into prison. Usually cool, but you keep me warm. Haunting hopes out of this world. Free fall, aiming for your arms tonight. Hold my breath under the sun. Spiraling dreams around the room. No grip, no. I'm drifting good. I'm belted by chosen ones. Halfway sleepwalk to your arms to tell you what you already know. Oh, I got it in my arms, yeah. I got it in my legs, yeah. I got it in my face. It comes out of my chest, liquid following my steps, yeah. I'm so ready for a change. Tell me you're that change. You saw yourself man in the mirror. Thought you'd understand why I left you hanging. I'm in the future, you're in the past. Step on glass. I wish you would understand why I left.
Feeling the wish fulfilled. She says, I said it. Had orange rings on my style. Pacific Islands. Still feeling the wish fulfilled. She says, I said it. Had orange rings on my style. Pacific Islands.
But tonight in session we do have Sassy 009 and we're with them now. How are you doing? You okay?
Hi, yeah, I'm good, yeah.
Good. It's so lovely to have you in and to meet you in person.
Yeah, likewise, it's great to be here.
Yeah, after our chat, I don't know how long ago that, it feels a while ago now.
End of last year is a safe way to say it.
It could have been.
Yeah.
But yeah, lovely to have you in and in our Salford studios, which is great.
Yeah.
And you are looking fabulous as well.
Thank you very much.
Talk us through this outfit for the listening public.
Yeah, it's like I had this vision of wearing a clown costume. And I told my brother, who is really into sewing clothes, and he basically just said, let me just try something out. And he made his own twist to it, you know. So it's
Wow.
not fully on like clown, but it has that sort of vibe that I was wanting to,
Subtle clown. It's like a monochrome.
Jestery, would you say?
court dress gesturing
Yeah,
in a
exactly,
very
yeah.
fashionable way.
And your lovely band, have you sort of similar
Coordinated.
colours coordinated?
Yeah, that was a part of the plan, yeah.
Would you like to introduce the lovely band?
Yes, so I have Elias Taffer with me on drums, who's he's played on many of the tracks on my record Dreamer Plus.
Amazing.
And then Marcus here on synthesizers and these crazy effects at times. So he's kind of like the motherboard of, you know, the soundscapes and
Yeah,
the textures, yeah.
I can see that. It's There's a lot going on over there. It's cool.
It's a lot, yeah. It's a whole
Yeah.
cockpit, yeah.
I mean, Dreamer Plus is out, and it's a fantastic album. We love it on the show. How does it feel now that it is finally out in the world, and you get to perform it
It
live now?
feels great. Yeah, I think I underestimated how big of a relief it was going to be, because I haven't released music in quite a while before putting this
Yeah.
record out. So it's been great, and also I think it's a part of. I feel like many musicians can relate to that feeling of feeling guilty for making new music while you haven't released what you already finished, kind of. So I also had this sort of like ease in me now, where I'm like, okay, I feel inspired again. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. What's inspiring you? What's happening in your life at the moment that's giving you inspiration for making
Slow
stuff?
BPMs, like even slower than I went with this record, I think.
Okay.
And I feel like I'm tapping more into like heavy metal stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Just sounded
see how it
that.
goes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I read in, I think you did an interview with Fader, and I think you talked about sort of that relationship with your music and how you just touched upon it then about it's been a while. Did you sort of have any difficulty in terms of writer's block or anything like that when it came to this album?
I didn't have a writing block. I feel like I was very like inspired at the beginning, but then it was the finishing part that was really tough. Yeah, because I was just processing the songs over and over and over again. It became this like eternity of processing, really. So that's been a big learning lesson for hopefully my next creative process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sort of coming to yourself and you growing up from Norway.
Yeah.
Your parents, I think we spoke about this in the Behind the Music. Your parents, I'm guessing they were a big influence on you as a musician, because you have the last track on the album being a song that your parents wrote.
Yeah.
And you put it out. What were they introducing you to as when you were younger?
Thing was, I mean, they're classical musicians, so they were definitely introducing me to classical music. Although I was sort of opposed to it at the time, But then later on, also with that track you mentioned, the last track on my album, was them making a pop song, which I wasn't aware of that they were doing back in the 90s.
Yeah.
So I felt like this new sort of connection to them as musicians, really, where it's like, oh, you actually experimented with some, different stuff than what I thought.
Wow.
Which is, great, yeah.
How do they feel about the music that you're making now?
They're feeling, I mean, my mom is such a hardcore, like, classical musician. Like, she barely listens to any other music. So her listening to my music is very, like, whoa, like, what is this? But then also she loves it.
Yeah.
And my dad is also very, I mean, they're both, very encouraging and excited, yeah.
And do you feel like you said that, like, at the time when you were growing up, the classical music thing, you were against it.
Yeah.
Is that something you've come around to, and is it something that feeds into your music now?
I think it's more about like me understanding my approach to music, that it was so different from the hardcore sort of discipline that comes with classical music. I grew up and I felt like I didn't have the patience, or I wasn't able to overcome that sort of impatience that all the other classical musicians were able to overcome. But then now I realize they didn't necessarily feel that way about playing, a violin or whatever.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've just understood sort of that I'm more intuitively driven. Like I want to create music rather than being told, what to play and adjust to that,
I can imagine it feels a lot less expressive than rock and roll.
Yeah, it's
Learning
very,
a classical
very
instrument.
tight frames to be creative within, which is interesting, I think, but also it's very, you have to be really patient, I would say.
Yeah. And was there a point when you sort of knew that you wanted to do this, your music? Is it true you were a snowboarder? You wanted to snowboard instead of being a musician?
Yeah. And then through that, making snowboarding edits, and like music is such a big part of that. And of course, like always been, like same thing with the skating scene. It's very, very linked to experimental music, I would say, and a very like exploratory kind of approach to genres and all of that. So I think, by snowboarding and sort of stepping away from the classical music and more into what I actually just enjoyed listening to, I found find my way.
Yeah.
And yeah.
But I think that's something that Deb can relate to, because Deb used to play what was the snowball game,
SSX Tricky on the PlayStation 2.
and that had a great soundtrack, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever
So-
play that game, or
Oh,
am
yeah,
I
yeah.
showing my age here? Because the music was amazing in it.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still like go back to it and listen to it because it's so nostalgic and so like, yeah, great music.
Yeah.
I love that I'm pretending I can relate to you as an actual snowboarder. I was really good at the computer game, can I just say?
And was that sort of like your culture growing up in Norway? Was there any big artists for you growing up in Norway, sort of with the snowboard culture as well as, you know,
I mean,
being a musician?
I think Røyksopp was an act
Yeah.
I was really, you know, listening a lot to. But then I think I was mostly, you know, looking for music online and not necessarily like from where I was from. I was listening a lot to Sad Boys and Young Lean and in that sort of like SoundCloud era. Yeah, never really felt that connected maybe to the scene actually back home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be interesting to revisit this in the second part of our
Oh, we have lots to
conversation.
talk about.
We
Lots
do.
to talk about.
Should we get into the session for now?
Yeah,
Sassy
let's do it.
Sassy 009. Yes, indeed.
Back in with Sassy 009. Now, we do have to obviously talk about Blood Orange.
Yeah.
Features on the album on the track Tell Me. An amazing track. It's been played on six loads. We love it here. How did you come to work with Dev?
With Dev.
Dev Hines.
Yeah,
Sorry, I don't know why I just said how did you come to work with Dev as if we're on first name basis. Ignore me.
No, but it's you know,
You're on first name basis.
Aspirational.
yeah, it's. I mean, I've been wanting to work with him for quite a while, but we're supposed to go in the studio together. Well, when the pandemic happened, really, so that never happened. I've known him for quite a few years now. Never really, you know, hung out a lot, but like still had this sort of like friendship between us. And then when I was finishing my album, on this song in particular, I felt like there was some parts I wasn't able to solve really musically. There was something missing, and I wasn't able to bring it out myself really. So I felt very, you know, like wanting to have control over the song, but then also letting go of it to the right person, if that makes sense. So I reached out to him basically on sent him a message and asked him like, I can hear you on this one, but all good if you don't hear yourself on it, you know. But yeah.
And he agreed.
And he agreed, yeah.
Amazing.
So cool.
Let's talk about the album a little bit more, because I know you had quite an in-depth conversation with Nathan about it on Behind the Music. It's still available on BBC Sounds if people want to listen back to that. But I'm curious about what kind of headspace you were in when you were writing the album and creating it. What were the kind of themes and what were you thinking about? What was percolating while you were writing it?
I think to begin with, I was just very intuitive, just wrote songs and melodies basically. And then lyrically, I was very inspired by this fictional story I was sort of mapping out in my mind at the time, using that as a source of inspiration, like an internal source, but still. And then I felt, you know, spending a few years on this record, I think I felt quite lost in the process of it, which I think is also partially why it sounds like it does in a way, like not in a bad way, but in more of a moody sense maybe. I felt very, in a way, alone dealing with the project, and the emotions that came from that was very, I wouldn't necessarily say sad, but there was this like longing for someone to piece the puzzle for me maybe. So I think that sort of pinpoints the process and why it sounds like it does. Yeah.
So do you think it was necessary that it took so long to complete it? Was that like an important part of the sound?
Yeah, I would say so, definitely, yeah. And also spending so much time on just being, you know, my main producer myself instead of relying on someone else, which is, I think, you know, collaborating is great and I really value that. But then with this project, I had this urge of, you know, steering everything myself. And now I feel, you know, proud of having done that and actually was able to deliver, if that makes sense. Yeah.
And speaking of collaborations, obviously Dev Hines is definitely a dream collaboration, but do you have any others that you'd love to get involved in Sassy 009?
Oh, there's so many. One big dream now is to work with Clams Casino. I've been a fan of his for forever, is what it feels. Yeah. But maybe stepping into, like I mentioned earlier, like I feel inspired by like going in the more heavy metal kind of direction, but I also feel very drawn to hip hop and like beats. So yeah.
Anyone in the heavy metal world who you've got your eye on to collaborate with?
I mean, there's this. I mean, I'm standing here literally with the bass in my hand, but I also have this this idol of mine who's from Norway, who's called Ole Rokseth, who's a bass player and is very deep in that scene.
Yeah.
I think it's more about just being fascinated by the genre and the sound in itself. I feel very connected to it now, and also understanding sort of that this is a genre that is the most like exported music from Norway, where I'm from.
Yeah.
So I feel this inspiration to that, and also looking up to him as a bass player because he's amazing.
Yeah.
And would that kind of project be under Sassy 009, or would you explore heavy metal under a different?
I think I should do it under Sassy 009. Yeah. I feel
I'm
quite
excited.
exploratory. Yeah.
Drop the heavy metal album. We need to hear it.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it.
100%.
I mean, you do like music videos as well. That's a big thing for you in your music. Does that just sort of come hand in hand? Do you visualize a lot? when you
Very
think
much.
about
Yeah,
music?
it's very like visual to me very early on in the process of making music. Yeah, I actually watch a lot of music videos while I'm playing my own music on top of it, just to kind of connect with the visual vibe of it too, if that makes sense. Yeah, yeah.
Amazing.
Do you think it seems like that's an important thing generally as a contemporary artist to picture sort of multimedia effect of your music? Is that something that's like?
Yeah, and one way of seeing it is like it's like necessary kind of to communicate the music, but also I find it so fun and meaningful to bring all those elements together. I also feel like I in a way, seeing my own music videos being edited or whatever, like I feel more connected to what I'm actually doing, because there's this level of disconnection, I think, by just working on your own stuff and being in your own what feels like a cave, at times, and then you're seeing it in front of you, and it's all of a sudden there. Yeah.
And then how does that translate for you in a live setting? Because obviously you're on tour now.
Yeah.
You're going to be playing Yes tomorrow on to London.
Correct.
So how does it translate for you live?
I mean, I think that's what I'm sort of like discovering now, really. I haven't really played a lot of live shows in many years, to be honest. So I feel like I'm just tapping into what that means, or like what that feels like. But I also feel curious of, performance in itself. And I'm trying to sort of like find my way to go about it. Like where do I feel comfortable and sort of able to spread my wings, rather than feeling nervous and like
That must be a strange feeling to spend such a long time making a record and not having played live, and then getting used to the idea of seeing people's reactions in real time to the music you're playing.
It's a very different situation to be in. Very different. There's no sort of like or it doesn't necessarily have to be a connection between those two, like being in the studio and being on stage, but I do feel very drawn to being on stage. So
this is good practice, just watching Maya and Nathan's faces while you're performing. Multiply that by a few hundred or thousand.
Is there anywhere that you're looking forward to playing on the tour coming up?
I mean, all the shows really, but I really look forward to playing London though. That's been a city I've spent a lot of time in for the past couple of years, and it's sold out, and it's it's going to be a great like energy boost, I'm sure.
Amazing. And what are your plans then for the rest of the year? What's coming up?
I mean,
heavy metal album.
Heavy metal all over the place though. But I mean, playing live shows is very much on the map for sure. And then trying to finish a new project as soon as possible, instead of stretching it out for years and years and years.
You've done it that way. Now it's time to try the quick route. Any festivals on the horizon for you this year as well?
There might be a few.
Oh,
exciting.
Yeah.
That's not leaving a pregnant pause.
We're not going to get anything. We're not getting anything. But no, amazing. Should we get back into the session?
Yeah.
Amazing. Sassy 009 live in session.